A very good afternoon to you, great co learners. My name is Mr. Simbi, and welcome to today's accounting lesson. This lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Sabono Discovery Center. It is a very good afternoon that you get to be in my class, and I'm happy to have you in my class as well. As today I'm going to start something new. I'm going to begin on reconciliations. The countdown is already began. You should be counting down already to the day of the prelim exam. Remember, our intention is to practice, is to prepare adequately so that when we come to examinations, we should score very high marks. I have no doubt. I believe that you guys are burning the midnight oil. You're putting in the hours so that you can be able to get the desired results. And I'm just here to support you. I'm here to give you the extra support that you may require in your studies. Once again, welcome to today's accounting lesson. To tell your friends, to tell their friends that Mr. Simbi is on and accounting is about to begin. So here are my objectives in today's class. Very simple. I'm going to do the bank reconciliation, and I'm going to do the creditors reconciliation. In the bank reconciliation, I'm going to look at updating journals. That is, if there are any aspects, any amounts that need to be updated in our journals. I'll also prepare the bank account. I know there are different ways in which we can do this. There's the T account, there's the straight line way, several ways in which we can do this. I want to encourage you, whichever way that your teacher has taught you and you've understood that one, that is what you need to stick to and practice with that particular method. I'm going to do the bank reconciliation statement as well. And before I say goodbye today, I would have addressed creditors reconciliation. It cannot be reconciliation without internal controls. So I have some internal control questions, which I'm going to do with you to help us understand how to go about certain problems that a business can face. So whenever we talk about reconciliations, remember we are in the bank reconciliation, but there are different reconciliations that we must know if we're to sit for any exam in Grade 12. You have to know, firstly, your bank reconciliation. You have to know your bank reconciliation, which I'm going to do today with you. You must also be able to do your creditors reconciliation. Creditors reconciliation. And I promise you, in the coming week, I'm going to do debtors reconciliation, as well as the debtors age analysis. Let's begin now with our bank reconciliation, popularly known as the BRS. You hear people say, have you started to do the BRS? This is the BRS. The bank reconciliation is a process of comparing the financial records of the business. The business is us. The business is us. So we're comparing our business books against the statement which we would have received from the bank. So what happens is that whenever transactions are happening, there has to be monies that are transferred or deposited into the business bank account. And therefore, at the end of the month, we do our reconciliation process where we compare the records of the business. That is the business books. We're looking at our CRJ as well as our CPJ, our cash journals, cash receipts journal, and the cash payments journal. Then we compare these books against the statement which we would have received from the bank. Why would we do this? Normally, you would find the examiner can come and ask a question such as, why should the business prepare a monthly BRS? These are the type of questions that we may face, and we must be able to answer why should we prepare the BRS. So in other words, what is the purpose of reconciling? We reconcile, number one, to identify errors. You will see in today's activity that there are certain errors that can be made by us as a business as well as the bank. Yes, the bank can still make errors. That means the bank, once they've made errors, those errors need to be picked up and be rectified. We cannot just say because it's the bank, then we leave them. So such errors need to be picked up as well as being rectified. So we do it to identify errors as well as omissions. You'll find that there are times when we record certain amounts in our journals, yet the bank does not have those certain amounts, or the bank has certain amounts, but we have not yet recorded. So those are omissions. And we also are able to identify fraud, theft of money from our business. Remember, we're dealing with cash, so there is a chance that cash can be stolen. So we need to be able to identify such activities. And we also do reconciliation to verify the accuracy of all transactions that are recorded. We need to ascertain whether these transactions are correct. Now, let's go on to the next part, which is the comparison of the bank account and the bank statement. The comparison of the bank account and the bank statement. So there's the books of the business, the records of the business. These are done by us. And the records of the bank, and these are done by them. You're correct. These are done by them. Okay, so when we look at these ones, we must be able now to say, okay, these are the books of the business and these are the books of the bank. What are the similarities or what are the differences thereof? Let's start with the books of the business that are done by us. Cash transactions are recorded in the CRJ and the CPJ, and the totals of the journals are posted to the bank account. You now see that you're going to have, I'm just going to come here and I'm going to draw and I'm going to say bank account because they're talking about the bank account here. So you're going to have your bank account. And it then says that we will record amounts from the CRJ and the CPJ. And then you have to know that cash received and deposited are reflected on the debit side. So on the debit side, I'm going to have my CRJ on the debit side. And then on the credit side, as you see here, I record my payments. So I come here and I'll say credit side, I record my cash payments, journal totals, payments. This is how we do it in the business books. Let's see what is happening in the books of the bank thereof. Then they say, the bank sends a statement of account to the business. These days, you can download it from your banking app. So they don't have to email it no more. You can simply go onto your banking app and download the bank statement. You can do that, and then you will see that it has a debit as well as a credit side. But if you look at that bank statement, you will see that when the bank has deposits, it credits all these deposits. So it therefore means if I come here, I'm going to now say, this is on the bank statement now. This is on the bank statement. And on this bank statement, on the debit side, on the credit side, if you would have wanted here, I could have put a plus here. I could have said here, we are receiving. Aha, here's a plus. And here, we are paying. Okay, so if you come to the bank statement, you then see that on the debit side, it is different because here they're telling us that the bank will credit all deposits. So remember, deposits, these are monies that we are receiving. So that means they will be credited. So we come here on the credit side now. That is where we are having our deposits. So in other words, that is money that we are receiving. So that's the CRJ transactions. And if you come here on the debit side, we're told that payments, withdrawals, and debit orders, these will be recorded on the debit side. So on the debit side, you come here and then you see that one. And that is your payments, your withdrawals, as well as your debit orders. So you then see that if you check the debit side here, it looks exactly the same as the credit side here. And when you check the credit side here, it looks exactly the same as the debit side here. That is the relationship that we see over there. Beautiful handwriting, you can see that. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Now, you are going to find that you can have a favorable and an unfavorable balance. I have just illustrated to you the differences between the balances on the bank account, books done by us, and balances on the bank statement, the statement that we receive from the bank. Okay, let's look at an unfavorable balance. When we have an unfavorable balance, it's called a bank overdraft. We have withdrawn more money beyond our current bank balance. So we now have an unfavorable balance, a bank overdraft. Now, in the records of the business, you would find that the bank overdraft is recorded on the credit side of the bank account. So you see it was on the credit side. So in other words, if you come here and this is your bank account, it will be on the credit side here. And then if we make EFT payments, if we continue spending more money, yet we have a bank overdraft, it will increase this bank overdraft. Okay, and I've seen this being tested even in paper 1. Okay, I've seen this tested even in paper 1. Remember what you did in the June exam. So once you keep spending more money, when you have a bank overdraft, your bank overdraft increases. But if you receive money, receipts from the CRJ, they will now reduce that bank overdraft. If you receive money when you have a bank overdraft, it decreases that bank overdraft. That is what this part is talking about. But if it is on the records of the bank overdraft is recorded on the debit side of the statement, and therefore withdrawals will increase. If you take more money, it will increase the bank overdraft, and deposits therefore would reduce that bank overdraft. This is in relation to the business, to the records of the bank, rather, to the records of the bank. Okay, activity number one. And our activity number one is adapted from the ASC June for the year 2023. Okay, I forgot to say the statement, the famous statement, that you should have received the worksheet already, and hopefully you managed to print it. If you did not manage to print it, it's not a train smash. Just make sure you have a pen, you have a paper, you have somewhere to write, so that whatever I'm doing, you get to do them with me. I often hear people say, Mr. Simbi, when we do accounting with you, it's so easy. But when I'm on my own, it's a bit difficult. And I always tell them, it's consistency. If you do one thing over and over and over again, you begin to do it with your eyes closed. So the more you practice, the more you watch these videos, the more you go over the steps that I'm going to be showing you, it will make life easy for you when you do your reconciliations. Okay, so let's begin with the ASC June for the year 2023. Okay, here we go. It reads, Violet Stores. The information was extracted from the records of the business for April 2023. Violet uses the official bank statement, which is available on the 25th of each month to complete the monthly reconciliation process. She also uses her EFT transaction records that are renumbered to complete the cash payments journal. Required. 1.2.1. Update the totals of the CRJ and the CPJ for April 2023. Use the table provided in the answer book. So we have that one. And we're going to calculate the correct bank account balance. We're going to do that. And then we're going to prepare the BRS. So we're going to do that as well. Okay. So here's the information that we're given. That was the first information. Okay. And here is the answer book. What is key to understand is that there are processes and procedures that you have to follow, because you just don't start reconciling. You have to understand the information that you're using. Where did it come from? So if we're to reconcile, you have to know that there can be information that appears in the journals that are done by us. So the information is in the journals, but that information does not appear on the bank statement that is done by them, the bank. Such information must then be put in the BRS, because we are saying we have recorded in our books, but the bank has not yet recorded. So in order to keep that information, we put it in the BRS and we wait for the bank to update that particular information on the coming bank statement after we've informed them that there are certain transactions which are not appearing on the bank statement. So this becomes key number one. So my key number two, therefore becomes, if an amount is appearing on the bank statement done by them, but the amount is not in the journals done by us, that means they have done their part. We have not done our part. Therefore, we must do our part. Key number two. Key number two. Key number three. Let me bring key number three down here. Yes, key number three. Very interesting key number three. If an item, a transaction, EFT deposit, is on the previous month BRS, if it's on the previous month BRS, you have to remember, how does it end up on the BRS? It ends up on the BRS because it was on the journals by us, but not on the bank statement by them. Hence, it was on the BRS. So if that transaction is on the BRS for the previous month, in this current month, that particular transaction now appears on the bank statement, but we're then told that transaction does not appear in the journals. With this particular transaction, we will do nothing because we were looking for this transaction, hence it was in the BRS. The fact that it now appears on the bank statement, it means we're looking for it, BRS, we found it, bank statement. Therefore, we do nothing because it was previously in the previous journals. Okay, beautiful. Let's read this transaction and hear what they want us to do. Let's start with this one here. It reads, the outstanding deposit on 18 March 2023. So we can see here is the deposit. On 18 March 2023, that is for 23,600. We are told that it appeared on the April bank statement. So where is this? It is in the BRS. It means it's this key here with the BRS. It was in the BRS. Now they're telling us that it has appeared on the bank statement. Now it's on the bank statement. What do? They do not even need to tell us whether it's on the journals or not. What do? We simply do not. So we come here, we simply draw a line, or we can tick it to say we've done it. Either will work. So we are done with number one here. Let's go to number two. The deposit on 28 March, let's go look for it. Here it is. Appeared as 22,200. An investigation revealed that the cashier has disappeared with the outstanding amount. So the deposit is for 37,200. 37,200. So here you have your deposit of 37,200. But it is only reflected as 22,200. Now, we are told that that difference of 15,000, the cashier has disappeared, gone with the money. It was then decided to write off the outstanding amount because the cashier is nowhere to be found. We call the phone, she's nowhere to be found, or he's nowhere to be found. What do? We write off the amount. Where do we go and do that? We come to the CPJ. Then we come to the CPJ and we write off the amount. There it is, 15,000. So we come here, we draw a line, there we are done. Can I go to the next one? Let's do so. So this one we're done also. So you'll find that in the exam, these particular transactions will always come where an amount was received, recorded in the CRJ, but not the entire amount made it to the bank. Only a fraction of the amount made it to the bank. The difference, which is outstanding, must therefore be written off in the CPJ. That is how we would do it. The next one then says, both the EFTs, here are the EFTs, were on the April statement. Remember, these are in the March BRS. But EFT 768 is that one there, appeared with the correct amount of 4580. So this is what we have there. So we are told if we see an EFT in the BRS, that means it was in the journal. Which journal? CPJ. That amount was in the CPJ. So in the CPJ, we'd recorded 5480. That is what was in the CPJ. But we're being told now, the correct amount should have been 4580. So we come again, then we say 5480 minus 4580. The difference is 900. Okay, so there is 900 more recorded in the CPJ. The CPJ has been overstated. 900 more in the CPJ. If the CPJ is 900 rands more, how do we correct that? We correct that by recording it in the CRJ. Once the CPJ is more, you record the difference in the opposite journal. I think we're done here. Let's go on to the next information. All right. So with the next one, we are going to take an amount. So it's basically the same information, but we want to take that balance as per bank account. Key, favorable balance. So that is key. So remember, favorable means debit. So I'm coming here and I'm going to say balance brought down 49,720. We bring it over there. Let's go on to the next one. The next one, now we have more information now. And then it reads, the first one, the debit order. So here, this is information on the bank statement. So this is on the bank statement, and we have our journals here. The debit order to Briarlet Municipality was for water and electricity. So this is for water and electricity. That must go to the CPJ. So we bring it to the CPJ, 2880. 2880. Because it is for water and electricity. So it is a cash payments journal transaction. We take it to the CPJ. Let's go to the next one. Why Marigold the tenant deposited monthly rent? So we come here, then we find why Marigold is here. And if why Marigold has deposited money, so this is money that we are receiving. Why Marigold is a tenant, and the tenant has deposited money to us. So it is income, receipts. So we come to the CRJ. Then we come here, it's going to be 8,400, like that. The next one. The deposit from Bentley Microloans did not relate to the business. The bank was informed of this. So when we see a transaction like this, and this is the deposit, this one, it simply means we received money from the microloans from Bentley, but that money was not meant to be ours. And the bank was informed of this error. So this is an error, and that must be corrected. The deposit from Bentley microloans did not relate to us. We received money. So if we do that, let me come here and then we correct it in the BRS. Such transaction will be corrected on the BRS. So in my BRS, I'm going to start off with balance as per bank statement. I know that if I start with bank statement, I'm going to end it off with balance as per bank account. Now, I know there is different ways. There's the 2 column and then there's the 1 column. For the sake of today's class, I'm going to use the 2 column. All right. So if we have such a transaction, this is an error. It is not our money. So we should come here and do correction of error. So here we have error on the statement. We have an error on the statement. Now, the question is, this error, did they debit us or they credited us? A deposit means they credited us. So if they credit us in error, how do we correct that? We debit. So we come to the debit and we say 65,000. That is how we correct that, by debiting it. So we're doing this one here. Let's go back where we were and then we continue. So we've done this one here. We're done with this one here. We did that one. All right. So we have done this error there. Let's go to the next one. The cash withdrawal of 740 was for fuel for the owner's vehicle. So that simply means this is a CPJ transaction. So we come here, cash withdrawal 740. We come to the CPJ 740 over there. The next one. The EFT transaction fees were duplicated on the bank statement in error. So we have EFT transaction fees here. One of them is correct, but one of them is wrong because it was duplicated. So what we're going to do, we need to record the correct one. We're still together. We need to record the correct one. So what we're going to do, we're going to come and record the correct one. And the correct one is the 360. So we come here, then we say 360. But we know that we have cash handling fees here, because this one and this one become our bank charges. So we're going to say 360 plus the 220. And then the total must give you 580. Then that 580 becomes your bank charges. But this 360 is an error by the bank. The bank has made an error. And therefore, if they've made an error, we correct it in the BRS. So we agreed this is correct, but this one was an error. So if this is an error, we correct it on the BRS. So we come here, and then we're going to say correction of error. This is correction of error. What error did they commit? They debited us, because these are bank charges. So they debited on the bank statement. To correct that, what do? We credit it. By how much? 360. So we come here, then we say 360 on the credit side. Okay, so let's come back again here. What other thing has not been ticked here? What other amount has not been ticked? Investment matured. So there's an investment which is matured of 18.3 here, and we need to record that. So we come here into our CRJ, and we have our 18,300 for the investment which has matured. Okay, so we are done here, and we've also done our corrections over here. Let's go to the next information then. So here is more information, and it reads: the cash journals, that is your CRJ CPJ, reflected the following entries that did not appear on the April 2023 bank statement. Okay, so what is that information that did not appear? So remember, here we had already our balance. Here we had our balance as per bank statement. Deposit of 22,500 on 30 April. All deposits must be credited. So we credit outstanding deposits. And this is a deposit on 30 April. And if we're going to credit, how much are we going to credit? 22.5. So I come here, then I say 22.5 over there. We credit the outstanding deposits. Then the next thing is we bring this to. What do we do with them? We debit. We debit outstanding EFTs. We debit outstanding EFTs. We have EFT 883, and 883 is for 9520. And we have EFT 884, and that is for 12,530. So we have those particular amounts. Okay, let's carry on. Let's carry on. So this is the updated journal. So we have our totals here. If we add all of that, that will give us 143,200. And if we add, remember to add your total. Remember to add your totals. Once you add your totals, then here you have 237,000. That should now enable us to do the bank account. Several ways of doing this. I'm going to do the T account in this case. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to now say, here what do I have? I have my total receipts. I have my total receipts. Remember, these are from the CRJ, 143,200. And here I have my total payments. This is from the CPJ. This is 237,000. Then we close this off. Okay, we close this off. Which side is the highest amount? 237. So I come here, I have my 237,000 here. You have my 237,000 here. So I'm going to have my balance carried down. And if I say 237 minus 49,720 minus 143,200, let's do it together. It's going to be 237,000, yes. Then I say minus 49,720. Are you still following me? Yes. So I'm taking out the amounts that are on the debit. Minus 49,720. Then I say minus again. 143,200. 143,200. Are we good? Yes, 143,200. How much we end up with? Okay, we end up with 44,080. Can you confirm that? Thank you. 44,080. So I come here, then I get my 44,080. Then I come here, and that becomes my balance brought down. That is 44,080 over there. That is going to work somewhere. Let's go and complete our BRS then. When we come, remember, we had the balance as per bank statement. This is what we're looking for. And we had our outstanding deposit, our outstanding EFTs, with the correction and that correction. And now we have balance as per bank statement, which is 44,080. And as you can see here, it is on the credit side. Hence, we bring it here also on the credit side. And then we look for the side with the highest amount. It is your debit side, which if you add, it gives you 87,050. You have the same amount on the debit and the same amount on the credit. Then you say 87,050 minus 44,080 minus 360 minus 22,500. Then it gives you balance as per bank statement 20,110, which is on the credit side. That becomes your closing balance. Okay, so this was the first activity. This was the first activity that we did together. Already we did three things. If you looked, we did three things. We did the journals, CRJ, CPJ. We did the bank account, as you see there, and we did the bank reconciliation. What did you see? I never said let's do only the journals. After we're done with the journals, then we go to the bank account. And then after the bank account, we do the BRS. That's not how we did it. We did everything at the same time. As I was updating my journals, I was also able to record in the BRS. And I was also able to do my updated bank account balance. And then I finish off my BRS. That is how you do it. That is the only way you can save time in an accounting exam. My good friends, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and I see you after 2 minutes.
Excellence. Excellence is a habit. Excellence is a quality you have, a quality I have. It's a quality we have when we honor what is true to us. Yes, we are gifted differently. uNkulunkulu akasinganga ngokufana. Excellence is striving for your best. Whenever you have a particular project, test, homework, uzibuze, ask yourself, is this my best? Can I put in more effort? Excellence is striving to be in the top 1% of the area in which you are gifted. And so I challenge you, in every single thing that you do, in every single area that you're gifted in, whether it's sports, it's academic, ucula, whatever that gift is, strive for excellence.
Welcome back, my good friends. We just took a very quick and very short break just to allow you to be able to take everything in that we've done. So in the next question, this is an extract as well from the NSC November 2023. We're focusing on paper 2. Remember, we're doing bank reconciliation statement. If your friends are having a problem with this particular topic, well, their problems are solved. Tell them Mr. Simbi is on, and then encourage them to sit in, not to watch the lesson. We're not going to binge watch the lesson. You're going to work together with me so that it benefits you. Are we together? Okay, let's go on to the next one. And the next one reads, bank reconciliation. The information relates to Mango Traders for June 2023. The business uses the official bank statement, which is received on the 26th of each month. Required. Calculate the following on 30 June 2023. Correct totals for the cash journal. So we're talking CIJ, CPJ, and I think those 12 marks are hours already. The bank account in the general ledger. Prepare the BRS. Okay, so we're looking at 24 marks already, and then explain 2 strategies that the business can use to address the problem of missing cash. That's your internal control questions now. So what did you see earlier on? We're able to do journals, cash journals, at the same time with a bank account and the BRS at the same time. So you just have to look at the information and be able to do it properly. So are you ready? Okay, you want me to give you a countdown? I'm just joking. Okay, let's do it together. So we're going to begin now, and here is more information that we're given, and we're going to need this. This is the previous month's bank statement from May. So you would need this one. And then here are the totals, extract from information C, and then here is more information, D up to F, and there we go. So I was able to cut the information into bits and pieces so that you can be able to process it. So even when you look at the worksheet, it looks exactly the same as what you see on the screen, so that when you are writing, you write exactly as I'm writing. That helps you to understand the reconciliation process a bit much faster. Let's see. So we are given the previous month's bank reconciliation statement. And then we are then told, note, the cashier reported that the cash to be deposited on 18 May was stolen while she was on her way to the bank. This must be written off. I think we've heard the story before. Who remembers when? Exactly. In the previous activity, we had a similar situation. Okay, so we know that on the 18th of May, the cashier was to deposit how much? 30,000. And then what happened? That money, remember, was recorded in the CRJ as 30,000. And then it was supposed to be deposited such that we can have it on the bank statement as 30,000. But the money was stolen while she was on her way to the bank. So the money never made it to the bank. So that means it will never appear on the bank statement. We will not find it on the bank statement. So we remain now with an amount that is recorded in the CRJ. Now, it cannot work because it's imbalanced. It's in the CRJ, yet on the books of the bank, it will never appear because the money got stolen. What do we do now? We are being told that this amount must then be written off. How do you write this off? If an amount is in the CRJ and you want to take it out of the CRJ, how do you take it out? Beautiful. You put it in the CPJ. So you come here, CPJ, 30,000, just like that. Good. Beautiful. Let's go on to the next one. Here it reads, EFT 816 to Ace Stationers. Let's go look for EFT 816. There you are, my good friend. Ace Stationers is correct on the bank statement. Okay. Let's see what is happening. We have this information, it's in the BRS. If it's in the BRS, it means it was in the journals, which is the CPJ. So in my CPJ, I'd recorded as 7,400. Hence, you find it in the BRS. Now we are told there is information now which is on the bank statement. And that transaction from A Stationers appears as 4.7. And then we are told further that the EFT 816 to A Stationers is correct on the bank statement. This is the correct one. So the one on the bank statement is 4.7. This is the correct one. So we were incorrect. We were incorrect. We recorded more, overstated the amount. By how much? By how much? it is 7,400 minus 4,700. They sound the same. They sound the same. It's 7,400 and then it's 4,700. So the difference becomes your 2,700. 2,700. That's the difference. Okay. Now, we recorded more in the CPJ by 2,700. It's a simple question. If the CPJ is more, how do you reduce the CPJ? How do you correct that? If it's overstated, you put it in a CRJ, 2.7 here, 2,700, just like that. Okay, we go on to the next one. By all means, let's go. It reads, outstanding EFTs, and then, so here we have EFT 817, Spark Wholesalers, 19.3 there, and EFT Spark Wholesalers, 19.3. And there's no more information. I don't think Mr. Simbi cut out something. No. This is all that is there. They want you to understand what I taught you about the three keys. Three keys. I gave you key number one. I said, if an item is in the journals recorded by us, but not on the bank statement by them, that transaction, we put it in the BRS. You remember? Then, number two, if an item is on the bank statement by them, but not in the journals by us, we put it in the journals. And then the last key, which is number three, is if an item is on the BRS, it simply means it was in the journals in the previous month and never appeared on the bank statement in the previous month. Hence, we put it in the BRS. So if that transaction is on the previous month's BRS, and now it appears on the bank statement for this month, and they are silent, like in this case. If they're silent, that means there is no need to record in the journals, or if they're silent like this, you simply do not a thing. You do nothing. So you simply come and you say, I see you. I was looking for you. Here I'm looking. Here you have been found. We move on. Let's go on. Let's go on. You do nothing there. Okay. Then the next bullet reads, EFT 792 to BK Builders. Here's BK Builders here. 792 was incorrectly recorded in the cash channels. That is the CRJ. Ooh. Okay. You need to read this one properly, calmly. It's an EFT. 2. So we are paying. Once we are paying, we must record this in the cash payments journal, CPJ. But it was incorrectly recorded in the CRJ. That was wrong. If you put an amount on the wrong side or in the wrong journal, you must correct it by putting it in the right journal. How many times? 2 times. So that means I must come to the CPJ and I must say 6.2, the first one, to cancel the error, plus 6.2 to record the correct amount. So I end up with how much? 12,400. That is how I would do it in the payments journal. In the CPJ, I end up with 12,400 because it was an EFT recorded in the CRJ. To correct it, I must put it in the CPJ. First time to cancel the error. Second time to record the necessary EFT. Okay, so I end up with 12,400 there. Okay, let's go on to the next one. And the next one reads, okay, oh, again, it's silent again. What do we do, guys? See if it's silent again. Which key are we looking at? Key number 1? No. Key number 2? No. Key number 3. In other words, if it's in the BRS, and now it appears on the bank statement and there is no error anywhere, we simply come and we say, found, sorted. So that is what we do. We do not a thing here. We do nothing completely. Okay. I can go on. Thank you. Okay, let's go on to the next one. It reads, the direct deposit by G. Glenn was for monthly rent. So we come here, this is an extract of the bank statement, and we see credit 14.6. So that therefore must come to CPJ, CRJ. It's a direct deposit from GClan for monthly rent. So GClan is giving us money for rent. CRJ, CPJ, CRJ. So we come to the CRJ. We come here, how much is it? 14,600. Okay, beautiful one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. The next one then reads, EFT 818. EFT 818. To VX Garage was for repairs to the company vehicle. The owner neglected to submit the transaction record slip to the bookkeeper. No entry was made in the books. So we have repairs that were made, and we see that on the bank statement, 3780 is a payment. So we come here, 3780. Okay. Next one, the monthly transaction fees were duplicated on the bank statement. Okay. So we are going to record our fees here. So you will see on our fees that we have the first one. The first one is the 320 cash deposit fee. So that should come automatically to your CPJ. So 320. And then we have transaction fees. One transaction fee, two transaction fees. Then we're told they were duplicated exactly as the previous one. So we'll take the first one, that is the correct one. So we come here plus 540. These are our bank charges, transaction fees. Okay, so if you want, you can add them together, then you can end up with 860. That will give you 860 here if you add up these two. Okay, but this one here, it's incorrect because it was duplicated in error. In other exam papers, they say it was duplicated in error, but they are leading you on. They're already telling you that it's an error. But if they just say it was duplicated, it means it appeared twice. It was supposed to appear once, but we recorded it. So that means we need to correct this one. So we come to the BRS. Then we say correction of error. Correction of error. Now, when we're correcting our error, where do we go? Do we debit it or we credit it? Take in mind that they debited on the bank statement. That means we're going to credit it, 540. 540 on the credit side. Okay, can I go? Let's go. Then it says, entries in the cash journals. So these were done by us, but do not agree with the June bank statement. So they were done by us, but they were not on the bank statement. So most of these may appear on the BRS. They have to be recorded on the BRS. Let's see. Deposit on 27 June for 31.5. So remember, we always start with what? We always start with balance as per bank statement. And we credit our outstanding deposits. All right. And then that is 31.5. All right. Some of you will start with balances per bank account. It's still correct. Okay. And then you end up with balances per bank statement. Still very, very correct. And then we come on to the next one, which is outstanding EFTs. So we debit our outstanding EFTs. And we have EFT 944. And EFT 944 is for 9,700. And we have EFT 945. And EFT 945 is for 13,300. Okay. And then let's go on. The owner withdrew 11,000 from an ATM to pay wages on 29 June, just before the end of the month, but did not inform the bookkeeper. Okay, so that means it's a transaction that was never recorded in the journals. So it has to come to the CPJ. The fact that we are recording it in the CPJ now, it means it would also not appear on the bank statement. So it means we have to put it again in the BRS. And this was an ATM withdrawal. An ATM withdrawal, it would be on the debit side. That is 11,000. Like that. Okay. So let's come here. You see, these were my totals for the payments. I get 138,660. The totals for my receipts, I get 98,840. So I'll come here and I'll start with my balance. It's a favorable balance as per bank account. So I come here, then I say my balance pro down. That is 49,100. Then I have my total receipts here, which is 98,840. And I have my total payments here, which is 138,660. And then I look for the side with the highest amount. And then I come here, add up. Then my debit side is higher with 147,940. 147,940. Here it's 147,940. So here I'm going to get balance, carry down, which is 9280. So I come here, then I have my balance brought down, which is 9280. That becomes my balance. And when I come here, I bring my balance as per bank account now, which is my 9280 over here. Then I look for the side with the highest amount. So this becomes the side with the highest amount. I have my 43,280, 43,280. Then I say minus the 540, minus the 31.5. Then I end up with my balancing figure here, 11,240. That becomes the balancing figure. Okay, so that concludes our bank reconciliation activity number 2. But it has an internal control question which was saying, explain 2 strategies that the business can use to address the problem of missing cash. So one of the things that you can do is receiving and banking of cash should be done by different people. In other words, divide or delegate or rotate the duties to prevent the mismanagement of cash. The other thing is you can request SMS notification from the bank, and you can check the bank statements regularly. And then outsource the transportation of cash to security companies, especially if they are large cash amounts. Okay, and you can also send another person to accompany the person who's going to do the cash depositing. These are some of the internal controls that can be put in place. My good friends, we're going to now quickly go on to my next part of today's lesson, which is the creditors reconciliation. Creditors reconciliation. So whenever we talk about creditors reconciliation, we think of 2 different types of reconciliations when it pertains to creditors. The first one is when we are doing the creditors ledger, and then it is versus the creditors statement. So the creditors ledger is prepared by us, the business, and you are comparing it against an external document that is received from the creditors. The creditors will send us a statement. And then the next one is when you look at the creditors control, this is prepared by the business, and you are comparing it against the creditors list, which is also prepared by the business. So these are the 2 different types of reconciliations that we can come across. Okay. Now, what is creditors reconciliation? It is the process that involves the comparison and reconciliation of creditors account, that is the creditors ledger, against a monthly statement received from a creditor. Remember the one version that I explained to you. The account of a creditor is payable after the process of reconciliation. So we have the creditors ledger and the statement. Remember, the ledger is prepared by the business and the statement by the supplier. So that is the one that I'm going to do with you today, where we have the creditors ledger prepared by the business, that is us, and the statement prepared by the supplier, that is them. Let's see. So we are here, activity 1. This is from NSC June for the year 2022. Let's go. It reads 1.2, Creditors reconciliation. Money Supermarket is owned by Money Bloom. The business buys goods on credit from Lewis wholesalers. So money is us. So whenever we see money, we say us or we, us or we, us or we. So we buy goods on credit from Lewis. Lewis is them. So Lewis is them. Okay, let's go. Required. Use the table provided in the answer book to show the changes to the creditors ledger account of Lewis wholesalers in the books of Money Supermarket and the statement of account received from Lewis wholesalers to take into account the differences identified. Indicate with a plus or a minus next to each amount, and we stand to take 13 marks home. Let's now look at the ledger. So this ledger was done by us. So on the credit side, it increased, it's a plus. On the debit side, it's a minus. All right, so you can see an invoice on the right side, it's a plus. A debit note, that one not on the right side. An invoice on the right side. An invoice on the right side. EFT payment on the right side, on the minus. Discount received, it's on the right side. An invoice on the right side. So already we can note that there is an incorrect entry there. And then you come to the statement that we've received now from our suppliers, that is them. So on the debit, it is a plus because in their eyes, when they see us, they see a debtor. So on the debit side, it will increase. But on the credit side, it will decrease. Okay, so if we pay a receipt, that's a minus, it's on the right side. A credit note, it's on the right side. Penalty, that is a penalty there, it's on the right side. And then we have invoice on the right side, as you can see. And then you continue with the rest of the transactions. So we're given information C, and there it goes. And then we're going to deal with it one by one. Okay, I want to know if you guys are ready because we're about to go. We have about 9 transactions and we're going to be doing them one at a time, one by one. And then I hope to explain it beautifully so that you can understand it. If this comes in an exam, you should be able to do this. But above all, practice is very important. Practice, practice, practice. Very, very crucial. We ready? Let's do this. It reads, Money Supermarket. Once we hear money is us. Us or we. We were granted an allowance. Allowance means minus of 750 for inferior quality goods received during March. This transaction was not recorded by the bookkeeper of us. Okay, so let's go. This is done by us and this is done by them. And we must do our reconciliation over here. So if we go, we'll see that we were granted an allowance of 750. There is the 750. Now, they have recorded it. They have recorded it. But we, us, we have not yet recorded this. Now, what do? We come to us. And what do we say? This is an allowance. An allowance, what sign is it? A minus. So I come in, then I say minus 750. Like that. We good? Okay, let's go on. Let's go on to the next one. Let's go on to the next one. Let's go on to the next one. The next one then reads, Lewis wholesalers. Lewis is them. They, them. They had erroneously entered the penalty for late payment twice on 30 March. Okay, let's see. This is us and that is them. them, they, okay, they entered a penalty for late payment on 30 March. Okay, so here is a penalty for late payment on 30 March. They will correct this in the following statement. Okay, so here it is the fact that this penalty is correct. The first penalty is correct, which is this one here. This one is correct. So once we see that penalty, it means we must also record the penalty because they've charged us a penalty, but we don't have the penalty. So let's record the penalty in our books. The penalty is going to increase what we owe them. It will increase what we owe them. So we come here and it is plus 580. But they made a mistake. They entered this penalty twice. That means this amount here is wrong now. So if they added a 580 incorrectly, how do you correct that? You go and you say minus 580. That is what you do. So the first 580 is correct. They have it. We don't have it. We put it in our books. The second penalty is wrong because they duplicated, erroneously so. So we must go to their books and take it out. That is how we would do it. Let's go to number 3. The amount for invoice 3381 on 3 April 2022 was correctly recorded in the creditors ledger. Let's look at it. You know, it's good when you read the figures and you are looking at them. The amount for invoice is a plus. The amount for invoice 3381, here is 3381 and here is 3381, was correctly recorded in the ledger. The ledger is us. We are good there. But, so they don't tell us who is wrong, because you can see here it is 7.8 and here it is 8.7. So we need the difference here. The difference between 8,700 minus 7,800. The difference is 900. So the difference is 900. They, remember, them, they recorded 900 more because they recorded 8.7 instead of 7.8. So they have 900 more. What must we do? We come here, then we say minus 900. Are we still okay? Thank you. Let's go on to the next one. An incorrect posting of the returns on 8 April was noted. Okay, let's go. 8 April, here's 8 April. Here is a plus, a minus. Here is a plus and a minus. So, debit note 149.64 here. 64. We know that if there are returns, it's a minus. So, they are correct. We put our returns on a plus, so we are wrong here. So it was us who made the error. Where do we go? We correct it by us. We said plus 640 when we should have said minus 640. So we go and we say minus 640. We minus again another 640 so that we end up subtracting 1,280. 1,000, Mr. Simbi, 1,280 because it's 640, 640, 1,280, 1,280. So that is how we do it over there. Oh, I see thumbs up. Let's go to the next one. The next one then reads, invoice BB55. Where are you? BB55, let's see. All right. Invoice BB55 in the ledger was for goods purchased from a different supplier. We're suppliers. So we did not buy this from Lewis Wholesalers, yet we put them in Lewis Wholesalers ledger. So this amount is not supposed to be there even. What do? We come here, we say minus 11,400. It was not supposed to be here. It's from a different supplier. Let's go. Invoice 3886. Let's go. All right. So here's invoice 3886, 3886. On the statement, this is the statement, included VAT of 15%. Okay. All goods on this invoice were zero rated product. Okay. So they were not supposed to be charged VAT at 15% at all because they were zero rated product. They, Lawiso sellers, will correct this. So you can see their invoice is 14,720 because it is VAT inclusive. Yet, these goods must not be subjected to VAT because they are zero rated. They are subjected to VAT at 0%. You know what I mean. Okay, so we get the difference here, the difference between this one and that one. So it's going to be 14,720 minus 12.8. The difference is 1,920. So they have charged us more by 1,920. So we go and we take it out. Minus 1,920. Like that there. Okay. Let's go. The bookkeeper of us recorded a 10% discount with the payment of EFT 425. Where is that? EFT 425. Yes, EFT 425. Okay. And there's the discount 1250. They, Lawiso sellers, they indicated that the discount was not approved. Okay, so we gave ourselves discount, but the discount is not approved. How much was that discount? 1250. So what do? We remember, once it's discount is subtracted. So we said minus 1250 in our books. Were we supposed to say minus 1250? No. So let's go and correct it. We have to add back that 1250 plus 1250. We add it back. We add it back. Number 8 then reads, the credit note A88. Where do we find that? Here. On the statement received does not relate to us. This credit note does not relate to us. This will be corrected on the next statement. So remember, on the debit, it's a plus. On the credit, it's a minus. So they've recorded a credit note which does not relate to us. So they subtracted that amount. They subtracted 3,180 incorrectly. What do? We add it back. Plus 3,180. We add it back. Plus 3,180. And then number 9. It says the statement is received on the 26th of each month. So we come here. We see that the statement is received on the 26th. The last day is 25. But when we come here, we have a transaction on the 29th. That simply means we have recorded a transaction that they do not have in their books. So we need to have it in their books as well. So we come here, it is an invoice. An invoice is a plus. So we come here, we say plus 9,900. 9.9 plus 9.9. Here is our complete answer. And so if we add everything and subtract, we end up with 56,270 there. And we do the same here, we end up with 56,270. And this was the last activity for the day. Well, in today's class, we did the bank reconciliation statement. We did 2 activities on the BRS, and we also did the creditors reconciliation statement. I hope you had a lovely time. I hope you enjoyed. But what is more important is that you continue practicing with the BRS, with the CRS. Next week, I'm going to come again with another CRS, debtors, recon, and a debtors age analysis. So make sure that you tell your friends to tell their friends that Mr. Simbi is coming again. Next week, Friday, I'll be here at exactly 2:30 waiting for you so that we can work together. Until next time, enjoy your studies. Take care and goodbye.